Difficult as perhaps Friday and the weekend has been for Joe Biden, Amy Walter, if you just looked at the polls, the last 2 weeks in particular, I mean, whether it's a battleground state or a quasi-battleground state, it seems as if it doesn't matter if it's a national poll, state poll, Biden is ahead or on the move everywhere. How much of it do you attribute to just the pandemic and Donald Trump, and how much of this is Democrats rallying a bit around Biden?
Yeah, it seems more like the former, Chuck, that this is as much about Donald Trump as anything else. I mean, what you noticed over this last couple of weeks is that, voters are expecting their political leaders to meet the moment. A lot of governors have, and you're seeing their approval ratings up in the 70s, in some cases close to 80%. Donald Trump's are back where they've always been because he met this moment in the same way he meets every moment. It's polarizing, it's divisive, and it's putting people back into their political camps. The one thing I will note, though, Chuck, is for as strong as Joe Biden is looking in those states and in national polls, what you also see is that President Trump hasn't cratered. And his overall vote share, if you look at the matchup between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, doesn't match his approval rating in a lot of these states. In other words, he still has room to grow in these states. There's a group of people who are saying, I like the job that the president's doing. I'm not yet quite ready to say I'm going to vote for them. It's easy for him. It's easier for Trump to get those people back. They haven't defected, at least not yet, to Joe Biden.
Hello from Washington. I'm Chuck Todd, and thanks for checking out the Meet the Press channel on YouTube. Click on the button down here to subscribe and click over here to watch the latest interviews, highlights, and other digital exclusives.